الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم المرء على دين خليله فلينظر أحدكم من يخالل أو كما قال مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. My respected listeners in Islam, may Allah Ta'ala infuse in our hearts the tawfiq to renew and refresh our intentions whenever we proceed with any amal. Any amal means with any deed, with any action, it is vitally important that we revisit the motive and the reason why we are indulging or doing that particular deed. It's mentioned by the awliya, more difficult than running with a glass filled with water till the brim. Take a glass of water, filled right till the top. More difficult than running with a glass that is filled with water till the brim is the need or is to look after one's intention. One can start something with a very noble intention, but along the way he may stray, shaitan may assault him, wasawis may enter into his heart, mind, and Allah forbid, despite having started off with a noble intention, motive, suddenly you find that the person has strayed horribly. Instead of reaping the fruits of his good intention, he or she now goes closer to shaitan and befriends shaitan. So before the intention, every morning, oh Allah, this day we live for you, this day we will inshallah try our best to think and try our utmost to be obedient unto you. And we will try and ensure that we view shaitan as an enemy and that we will not follow shaitan. It's extremely important to ensure that our intentions are good. During the course of the deed, the amal also, just reflect in a very, very cursory manner, is my intention still there that I'm doing it for Allah's pleasure? And at the end of the action, not only at that particular time, but later on in life, the thoughts may come that we have done certain good things. There also, we have to try and ensure that our intention did not change. It really was for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Good intentions bring healthy imani fruits. Good intentions lifts the spirit of the person. Good intentions are those intentions that the deed that follows will be in conformity with the Sharia. You can't have a good intention in a bad action and say my intention is good, Allah will reward me. It doesn't work that way. So it's important to reflect what is our intention for speaking and listening. And the first intention is for our own reformation, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to gain the promised rewards from Allah ta'ala, to educate ourselves and enlighten ourselves with regards to our deen. Many of us cannot go to the Darul Ulooms, etc. Then the way forward now is to listen to the bayanat in the lectures and try and understand what is being spoken about. Our topic for today is companionship. Companionship is such an important feature of our deen that Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen. O believers, you must fear Allah Ta'ala. Be scared of Allah Ta'ala. Do not take Allah Ta'ala for granted. Do not dilute the commands of Allah. Do not think and assume that you are a friend of Allah Ta'ala. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Do not consider yourself to be pure and to be purified. For Allah Ta'ala says, He knows the ones who have taqwa. We can but do the deeds of taqwa, but in reality we do not know where the shaitan lurks and what is in our nafs and what is a deep inside rebellious, or it is a cunning trick. At times we say it's for Allah Ta'ala, but in reality we're trying to promote ourselves, our names, our organizations, our just flaunt our wealth. But we say we do it for Allah Ta'ala's pleasure, and thus the shaitan deceives us. In this ayah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah, we must be scared for Allah Ta'ala. No one must take Allah Ta'ala's power for granted, Allah Ta'ala's authority for granted, Allah Ta'ala's instructions for granted. If Allah Ta'ala says that we have to do something, we must do it. Don't try and find excuses in order to evade the responsibilities which we have accepted that we would do since we claim we are Muslims. When we are Muslims, we are bound to accept the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ayah, Allah Ta'ala says, fear me. The way to inculcate the fear of Allah Ta'ala is not merely to listen to talks and bayanat and to read literature. Be ma'as sadiqeen. Be the companions of those who are sincere. Sadiq means to be truthful. A person who is truthful is a dependable person. You can trust him, he's your friend. You can trust him, he's your relative. Not because he's just your relative, but he's a truthful relative. Everything depends on truth. The entire deen depends on truth. Wahi was the truth. فَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالِ. After the haqq, what is there left except to be astray, to be on the wrong path? Over and over Allah Ta'ala speaks in the Quran Kareem about haqq. أَفَمَنْ حَقَّ عَلَيْهِ كَلِمَةُ الْعَقْ. In the ayah of the Quran Kareem, Allah Ta'ala says, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ. Truth has come. How truthful are we? If we see something that does not suit us, then we will turn our tongues and we will speak with forked tongues. We will promise something but we won't do it. We will speak the truth but we don't speak the whole truth. We are selective in what we do and we are selective in what we want. We don't understand the value of truth. Truth is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Truth sets us free. Your ruh is very free. I'm free and far away from falsehood, from lies, from deception, from make-believe, from being a fraud, from being a hypocrite. That is why one of the main traits of a hypocrite is when he speaks lies. When he promises, he breaks his promise. We need to be super cautious when we come to our intention and to understanding the truth. If we give something in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we must try as far as possible to hide our good deeds, to conceal it, to keep it so private that the right hand gives, the left hand don't know. Inshallah, great will be the reward for such a person on the day of Qiyamah, that person will sit under the arsh of Allah Ta'ala and enjoy the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So believers, fear Allah Ta'ala. How am I going to learn how to fear Allah Ta'ala? When we are in a company, the word is ma'as sadiqin, with. When we are in a company of the illustrious awliya, the friends of Allah Ta'ala, the ulama of haqq, then alhamdulillah automatically we will see truth, how it is expressed and how it is practiced upon. During the time of the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, there was a unique incident. The Mujahideen had a treaty with the disbelievers that we call it a truce. we won't attack you, you won't attack us. This is the boundary, what we call today countries. This is the line, you are on that side, we are on that side. We don't attack you, you don't attack us. And it was accordingly agreed upon. The non-Muslims had erected a statue of the king. The Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala majma'in, on their side, on their own side, they were practicing some archery, etc. By mistake, a particular person shot an arrow which hit the eye of the statue of the king. The eye of the statue, the arrow hit it, and the eye got damaged. The kuffar were very annoyed, and they were very angry. See what we have done to the eye of the king. They said, no, it's just a statue. No. They informed the king, and the king demanded, just as they have damaged the eye of the statue of mine, we need to destroy and damage the eye of their leader. They must make a statue of their leader, and our archers will shoot and damage the eye of their leaders of statue. When this was brought to the Sahaba's notice, they made mashwara with Hazrat Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that this is what they are claiming in revenge. A statue must be made of you, and they will shoot an arrow in order that they can get a revenge. Hazrat Abu Ubaidah radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, but the truth is this here, that Islam does not permit statues. Islam at all, it's haram, totally haram. And it's not permissible. Tell him this here, if they want to, they can shoot at my eye and damage my own eye, but we cannot go and displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now imagine what a huge test it was. Would you sit comfortably while somebody is throwing a stone at you? No. This was, you shoot an arrow into the eye. Allah Ta'ala's fadl so great that when they saw the steadfastness on the truth of Islam, the non-Muslims, they surrendered and they said, okay, fine, let it be. We are not going to do anything further about it. Until we don't lead our lives according to the Sharia, until we don't understand what it means to be truthful, we will never ever gain proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I give another example of what companionship could do. It was a time in which Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after Fajr Salah, would instruct the companions to make dua on their own. Duas are accepted after Fajr Salah. Consequently, mashallah, all the Sahaba, after Fajr Salah, they would make the Tasbih Fatimi, and individually they would make the dua. However, one particular Sahaba by the name of Hazrat Abu Dujana, the moment Salam was made, he would immediately run out of the masjid. He would rush out of the masjid without making any dua. This was observed by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and some Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala majma'in. Accordingly, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam called him and asked him, "Oh Abu Dujana, what is this here that straight after Salam you rush out of the masjid? Where do you go? What are you doing? What is the reason?" He looked down, he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I've got a few small children in my house. Across the boundary, next to my neighbor, there is a palm tree. In the palm tree, khajur dates fall, ripe khajur. My children, most of the time there's not enough food in the house. So I fear that they mustn't go and take from the khajur which belongs to the Yahud, who's my neighbor. One particular day it so happened, for some reason or the other I got delayed. And when I went home, I found a small child of mine had already picked up a khajur, a date, and he was chewing. The khajur had reached his throat. I was so scared that my child is going to eat haram. The khajur is halal, but it doesn't belong to us. I put my finger in his mouth as far as I could. I felt the khajur. I pulled it. He was screaming, crying out of hunger. Then the trauma of somebody putting the finger and pulling out the khajur. But I was only scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the punishment that Allah ta'ala has mentioned, which is going to be given to people that eat haram. Understand well, if you eat haram, it's not, it's this organization was certified in that. When we eat haram, we put in our stomachs fire. The fire of Jahannam is going to go in our stomachs. We must understand very clearly. It's not a matter of just certifying and who certified it and what they are certifying. These certifying authorities, so-called authorities, they indulge in a lot of carelessness. Just the other day there was a photograph of a packet of khinzir meat. Khinzir meat, and inside there is a halal stem on another small packet which contains spices. But it's in the packet where the khinzir meat is. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. On the one side is written pork. On the other side there, on the sachet, is written a halal. What does the innocent people understand? People who can't read. They just see a sign. Many Muslims that can't even read and write, etc. So no one is ever held accountable. Never ever. It's always someone else's fault. It happened and we rushed down immediately and we spoke to the manager and he gave us assurance it will never ever happen again, and he apologized, he respects our religion. But it carries on and on and on. Where is the fear of Allah? When is ever one person going to be called to account for the more than 20, 30 items of pork verified with halal certification? May Allah Ta'ala grant us all tawfiq. If you and me are not going to be cautious of what we put in our stomach, we don't apply our intelligence, we don't want to take the trouble to ask a few questions, remember we are responsible for the consequences of what we are going to do. So Abu Dujana was frantic with worry. He somehow or the other got the khajur out. He cried profusely, and he says to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after Fajr Salah, after making salam, I can't face my Rabb in his own listing. Would this sin that I have committed allowed my child to eat that khajur? I close my face and I just run around. I run away from here. I'm too ashamed. How did I allow this to happen? Now look at it. We would say today, this is now extremism, astaghfirullah. We would say, what, like, crazy man. How can people just pull out a whole khajur? They feared Allah. And upon that fear of Allah and sacrifices, Allah Ta'ala now starts giving the rewards in this dunya. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, when he heard about this, he immediately went and he bought that particular piece of land where the date palm was. He came to Abu Dujana, he said, this is a gift for you, don't ever worry about food from now. Healthy tree, filled with juicy khajur, you can eat for your whole life now. You don't have to worry about food. That's part one. Part two, the Yahud came to know about this incident. He came with his family to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, all his wealth, everything. He said, "Oh Muhammad, I can't believe you as your ummah can be so truthful that they take out the date from the children's mouth and say it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the neighbor. Please make me a Muslim." Me and my whole family. The whole family accepted Islam. Today, how much fraud, how much scamming. We don't give people their rights, we don't give people their inheritance, we don't give people their shares, we hang on to the wealth, we brutalize people emotions by promising them that we're going to pay, don't worry, I'll see you end of the month. End of the month, when the person phones, where's my money? They don't take the calls. May Allah Ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to understand what halal and haram is all about. Companionship plays a huge role in our deen. In the hadith of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that has been mentioned, recited, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, let every one of you examine and analyze who he befriends, who is your friend, sister, who are your friends, oh brothers in Islam, who are the friends of your children, who are the friends of your daughters. Let him be very careful. He must see from where he gets his deen. You will be upon the deen of your friend. If your friend is a person who loves music and movies, he loves the dunya, he cheats, he does wrong things in order to maintain his style, the style of living of his friend, your son or you yourself will be most certainly, or in fact, let's put it in all probability, imitate your friend. How he is, I want to be. He wears that type of shoes, I want to wear that type of shoes. She dresses like this here, so I want to dress like this here. She goes to a certain place, I want to go to a certain place. We do not think what type of a friend and what effect does my friend have upon me. Friends are very valuable. Good friends, friends we can trust, are very valuable. They are more valuable than a treasure. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Dua Rabbana inni as'aluka hubbak. O my Rabb, I ask you here for the friendship and for the love of those who love you. And those whose love will bring me closer to you. And the love of those good deeds which will make me more beloved to you. Good friends are a ni'mat from Allah Ta'ala. Imam Shafi'i Rahmatullah Alayhi says, since I came to know that friends will be together in Jannah, feasting together, I am looking even more forward to Jannah. That me and my friends will gather there in Jannah. And amongst the delights of Jannah is that we will enjoy one another's company. Bad friends are bad. They are destructive. They are unreliable. You do not know when he's going to turn. You do not know, oh sister, when she can turn. She will introduce you to wrongs. Worse than a wrong deed, Maulana Masihullah Rahmatullah said, is a wrong friend. A wrong friend will teach you even more bad things. He will never be satisfied until you are with him through thick and thin, what we call. And at the end of the day, he will simply leave you to yourself if there is trouble. We heard a story from Maulana Masihullah Rahmatullah Alayhi. There were a group of friends, and when they are young, they feel they own the world. They think they know everything. They think there's no hurdle that can stop them. There's nothing that can change their minds. It so happened, one of this gang had a fight with somebody. He decided to get some help. Quickly ran to his one very special friend who was busy eating at that time. Entered, and what did he say thereafter to his friend? Entered the house. What did they tell his friend? Big trouble. Big trouble. Come now and now. You must come now and now. But what's the problem? I'm eating, man. Join me in the meals. No, trouble. Come on. So the son said, okay, fine. He went to wash his hand. The friend who came calling and crying for help, he saw there's a knife on the table. He grabbed the knife, ran away first, came to the person whom he was confronting, and before that person could say anything, he took the knife and he stabbed him in the heart. Fellow fell down dead. From the back, the one who was busy eating had washed his hands. He came now running, and he saw this person dead. And he asked his friend, what did you do? You've killed him. And he put just instinctively his hand on the knife that belonged to him, you know that you've killed him. Just then, some people gathered, the police came quickly, what is happening? The one that did the killing turned around now. What does he do? He says to the police, I never killed him. He killed him. The friend says, I never killed him. I came here just now and I saw this here and I'm thinking now what to do, and I caught my knife. He told the police, the other person, he says, you see, it's his knife. He killed him. The innocent one was arrested, the innocent one was hanged. The friend was nowhere to be seen. Can you allow a situation that your child be friends whosoever he wants to? Last week he spoke about Instagram. Don't you know the amount of evil that is so prevalent in our communities, in the schools, where they form relationships with girls? Muslim girls with non-Muslim boys. Where is the father? Where is the mother? Where is the father? Where is the mother? Yesterday somebody informed me of a very, very tragic situation. Allah Pak save us. We can only do so much. Meaning give advice, learn a lesson from other people's mishaps, etc. The brother says to me, you know, I have my shop in this area here. Very close by, there's a Christian school. Muslim girls, boys are attending the school. First period in the morning, Bible classes. They go for Bible lessons. They go to the chapel. Chapel is the church. Muslim children going to a chapel, going for Bible classes. It's shocking. The parents pay a huge fee in order for the child to attend a private school. And the parent is under the impression, I'm giving my children the best of everything. He tells me further, with a very broken heart, what can I tell you? 2, 3 small children came to my shop. I asked him, you people are there in the school? He said, yes. Say, you must remember Isa alayhi salam is going to come down again. Uncle, don't talk nonsense. Jesus has already been crucified. He'll never ever come back. He's dead. He says, no, I'm telling you, Islam in the Quran Sharif says very clearly that Isa alayhi salam is going to return back to earth. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. I'm reciting this ayat. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ, Allah Ta'ala says, most certainly the Jews did not kill him. وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ, most certainly the Jews didn't crucify him. Very clearly. They say, we don't believe in that. Jesus is dead. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Think. The father says, shukr, business is very good. He's got a lot of wealth, Allah given wealth. The ni'mat from Allah, such a great ni'mat. He's using that ni'mat now to pave the way for his children to go to Jahannam, hoping upon hope that, no, I'm giving or claiming that I'm giving my child the best of education. Whatever money can buy, I'm giving it to him. He doesn't understand what he is doing. He doesn't understand the value of the Quran Kareem. He doesn't understand the value of Islam. He doesn't understand what truth is all about. He doesn't understand what the consequences of his actions are going to be. He doesn't understand the day will come that surely his children will leave the world. And he doesn't understand that surely a day will come when he will leave the world. And he doesn't understand that day that he will have to, when he will have to face his Creator. And he doesn't understand how it will feel when a child says to Allah, there is my father, he educated me in this type of institutions. I had lost my iman, I'm not going alone to Jahannam. Maulana Thanwi Rahmatullahi narrated an incident. Perhaps we hear it again, it will refresh in our memories. What does Maulana Thanwi Rahmatullahi say? There was a very, very wealthy person. It was the days when the British were in control of the whole of Hindustan. And what happens is this here, the father, being super wealthy, wanted to give his only son the best of education. And the best of education was not to go to a Darul Uloom in his opinion. Like how people feel, you go to a Darul Uloom is waste of time. People want to know why so much Darul Ulooms are there. You can't understand the ignorance of people. May Allah forgive them, may Allah forgive us. You should be happy if there are more Darul Ulooms that are on the truth and haqq. There's more Quran Sharif that's being recited in that locality, in that town. There's more قال الله وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is recited in that town, on that street, in that locality. How beautiful isn't it to have a proper madrasa, a proper Darul Uloom if you can call it, a proper maktab. How much of Allah's mercy descends on those localities. To the contrary, they look at the students of Deen as they are some type of loafers. They've got nothing to do in life. So this wealthy person decided, no. Send my son to Europe. He must become a top advocate, a barrister, the highest of the high. Son graduated, distinctions, top education, wrote a letter coming back. Father, MashaAllah wa ta'ala, if you can say, organize a grand feast, call people from far and wide. My son is coming back, he's a barrister. He's been educated. He knows the world. In Europe, in this university. Son came when he got off the ship. Huge welcoming ceremony for him there. Convoy of vehicles, etc., bringing him to the house, and a feast of a lifetime. My son, there are better. After about a few months, he became sick. The sickness was of such a nature that there was no cure for it. The son's health dipped. It dived. Until he understood himself, there's no way I'm going to recover. Doctors have given up answer. They've given up. There's no answer to my predicament. He thought deeply. He was trying to think. He was a lawyer. Where is the root of this distress in my heart? Why is my heart so scared and so frightened? And he thought and he said, call my father. Father came, Beta, what is your situation? Look at you. I spent so many thousands and tens of thousands of pounds on your education. I had such high hopes that you will keep up my name. I got no joy from anything besides this few months that you were here. I parted from you for years. 7, 8 years I parted from you. You say, oh Father, what are you crying? What are you crying about? I'll tell you what I see now. In front of me I see a place called grave. In front of me I see the darkness of the grave. In front of me I see the loneliness of the grave. In front of me I see there's going to be a fire awaiting me in my grave. In front of me I see that a day will come when I will be resurrected. A day called Qiyamah. I couldn't see these things. You blurred my vision, you smothered my understanding of what reality is. With all the wealth and the glamour, you veiled my understanding and intelligence. But now I can see what's going to happen. I will be beaten in a grave for the salahs that I have missed. I will be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah. in the company of all those that I love there in Europe, all those non-Muslims, etc. I will be made to stand amongst them. That will be my company. Then I will be summoned. I've learned what a summons is all about. You can't escape a summons. I'm a lawyer, I'm an advocate, I'm a barrister. I know what summons mean. It means there's no place for you to hide, no place for you to run. We are going to get you whether you like it or not. You can be at the end of the world. We will track you and we will trace you down and we will haul you into the court. We will disgrace you and we will put chains on your hands. I can see a day when I will have to stand in the court of my Allah. I've got nothing to answer about. Meaning, I've got no good answers. But I'll have one thing most certainly to say. I will say to Allah and my Rabb at that time when I'm alone there in front of Him, oh Allah, I know I'm going to be condemned to Jahannam. But I don't want to go alone. My Father paid for this moment, this destruction of mine. He has to join me. I will never want to go alone. I was in amanat to you, O Father. You destroyed that amanat. You were more worried about your name, your fame, your reputation. You never thought one day this son of mine is going to be in the court of Allah. I must prepare him from now for that success more than the success of this world. And the son passed away. Your children are in amanat. Don't allow anyone ever to dictate to your children what you must do, what is right for them in Islam. No uncle brought their child up. No, with all due respect, grandfather brought their child up. No, grandmother brought their child up. Who was the one that bared the pangs of labor? It was the father and the mother. Who were the ones that stayed awake at night when the child had a high fever? It was the father and the mother. Who was the one that went walking around till they were tired in order to ensure that the child has proper clothing? It was the father and the mother. Who was the one that felt the pain of the child? It was the father and the mother. Now when the father and the mother decide, my son must become a Hafidul Quran, you find every Tom, Dick and Harry jumping in. Don't let him do his hifz. Don't let him do this here. He needs to know a lot of English. No one says you mustn't educate your child with some form of English. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they want to make decisions for you. They want to make the decisions for you that this is what now your child must do. The governments of the world have taken over the role of parenting. They say to you, your child must go to school. It is compulsory to go to school till the age of 15. And if you say, no, I don't want my child to be educated with this LGBT issues, or I don't want him to be to intermingle with girls, etc. They will say, until now we've got some type of leeway to do some homeschooling, but other places there's nothing like that. In the UK, if a father or mother to tell a child, my son, my daughter, LGBT is haram, there's nothing like LGBT, it's a curse. Allah Ta'ala cursed the people who indulge in the actions of Lut alayhi salam. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam cursed those people. Oh my son, don't go to friends that are going to introduce this to you. I don't want the curse of Allah and His Rasul to befall you. If the child goes to the school and just whispers to another one, my father was very angry, He says this is very bad. And somebody informs the authorities of the school, they will go to the parents and say, listen here, we will send you to jail. We will lay charges against you. The school laws are as such that they have to be taught this year. And if he does it one more time, they will lay charges against him. And if he persists in doing this yet that is so right and so logical and so reasonable, and it's part of a human being to understand a man cannot marry a man, a woman can't marry a woman. If he feels still, I must try one more time, my child is diverting towards all this haram, do you know what they do? They confiscate your child. They take him away. Your child is no more your child. They will put him in a foster home, in a Christian home, where he can be taught all these things. They say you are incapable of being the parent of this child. Who brought him up? The government bring him up. But they decide for everyone. This is the zulm and the tyranny which we live under. May Allah forgive us. We all see what's happening in India. We see the brutality. We see the Imam Sahib, or we hear about the Imam Sahib, or we read about the Imam Sahib in 1 week. How many Muslims were killed? They came in a masjid late at night, mobs of them, mushrikeen, Hindus. They came dancing, screaming. They made him shaheed in a masjid. And they tried to sever his head and cut off his head. A Hafiz al-Quran. They didn't succeed with Allah's fadl. And they burned the masajid. 3 masajid were burned. How many madrasas are being burned? How many Muslim women are being assaulted? How many Muslim are being imprisoned? Why? Just because they tried to defend the masjid. They catch them and they put them in jail. And the perpetrators are left free. The kuffar put their heels on our necks. But ask yourself, how many of us love the Indian films? How many of us love the Indian cricketers? How many of us love the Indian music? And you ask yourself, you see, you know what a hypocrite I am. Look in the mirror, look again, you will say, you know what, I'm a hypocrite, man. I speak about, look at what they are doing to the Muslims. Yet I befriend them. I befriend those that go to the temples and they've got Muslim names. I find nothing wrong with it. Respect all religions, they say. But look at what they are doing to my Muslim brothers and sisters. May Allah Ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to understand what company is all about. Company will make you, company will break you. Wrong company will make me, proper company will make us. May Allah Ta'ala grant us tawfiq wa akhiru da'wah.